Hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Bridge. I'm your host, Alex Siegars. Thank you for joining us. Today, I'm joined by a new friend of mine named Emma Butler from Northstar Retreats, who is currently residing in the great motherland of South Africa. So with that, I would like you to introduce yourself with a brief introduction to what you guys are doing in Northstar Retreats, and we'll go from there.
Hi, Alex. Thank you first of all, for having me, and also to Raya for connecting us. I'm very grateful for the opportunity to introduce myself. Emma Butler, I am the founder of Northstar Retreats, and it's also linked to Northstar Academy, which we are still developing. And we're starting off with Yacht Leadership Retreats. The very first one we are hosting in Cape Town in November. And that's what I'm here to tell you about today.
Perfect. Can you give us more in depth on what it entails with the Northstar Retreat, since you guys are doing your first ones? Who is it more curated for? I know I saw it was some wellness, yoga, a lot of mental stuff, after a busy season. I think it's an extremely important thing to offer crew members, especially leadership role crew members.
Absolutely. So the idea came about from personal experience, exactly what you said now, after a busy season or charter, anything to the like, where you just feel a little bit depleted, and we have so little time to do so many things when we're on holidays as crew members, and more so I think when you feel like you want to upskill and you want to progress. And I'm combining very, very well-deserved rest with upskilling in form of accredited leadership training through the IAMI GUEST Program, and blending it with a little bit of adventure, because Cape Town just has it all, as you may know. I was going to stop that. Oh yeah, we've got fantastic beaches, winelands, mountains, everything. So I'm basically combining that for the yachties that would like to take the opportunity to grow and reset, and possibly also connect with like-minded people in a beautiful, serene setting with a lot of support.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I can speak from personal experience on the weekend as well. After the season, you're just dead to the world. There's nothing else you want to do but go somewhere, relax and whatnot. But if you can also progress your skills as a leader and in your position, I think that's fantastic. Can you go a bit more in depth on what kind of courses or like the curriculum that you offer with this retreat?
Sure. So we're starting with Unit 17 from the IAMI GUEST Program, which is the foundation leadership course specifically for yacht leaders. So it's very much curated to onboard scenarios, which I think is important to not be too general about it, because we are a very, let's face it, specific industry. And I'm hoping to build that in the next coming months or next year, to offer another one that goes into advanced leadership. So Unit 17 is the foundational one, and then Unit 22 is the advanced leadership training. So it's basically for anyone that's stepping up into a leadership position or that would like to progress, that has enough operational experience to understand what we're going to talk about. And then obviously for established leaders as well that feel that they need to maybe relook at their style or skills, or would like to just learn and is open-minded enough to enhance their skills as well. So everything is accredited, as I said, through this program. And you actually walk away with the certificate as well at the end of the week.
I think it's so important that something that needs to be done now is because as the industry is progressing and as people are taking these leadership roles and wanting to improve the industry more seriously, I just think it's a necessary item that needs to be talked about. There needs to be options for crew to go there. That's an accredited course. Can you give a bit more background of like your history, your career, or even the yacht industry? How do you come to now run events planning and mental health retreats?
I've been working on Superyachts for the last 10 years or so, and I worked on different size vessels, smallest being 50, and the largest being 150 meters and everything in between. So I've got quite a vast scope of experience in leadership roles, from head of service, head of housekeeping to chief stewardess. That's my yachting background. And before that, I worked at sea as well. I started off on cruise ships, well, specifically for a company called Seabourn Cruise Lines. It's a boat sea company, and that sort of set the pace for me for my sea career. So it wasn't very difficult for me to make the transition onto yachting, although it was quite an awakening in how things are done differently from a commercial point of view to private. And prior to cruise ships, I worked in hospitality in Cape Town, mostly in very high-end hotels and restaurants, where I also worked as restaurant manager, and basically hospitality most of my life. In between that, I also had my own little business as a tour operator. So I think that I come with a lot of experience in hospitality, but more so leadership from both ends, so that I could give a massive overview of styles, of inclusions, and I think that I've been exposed to so many different genres, not just in terms of cultures and generations, but also different perspectives from land, from commercial, from private. So I just felt like it was time to start making the transition. And at the beginning of the year, I had an injury that I was ignoring for a very long time. As you do in yachting, you just push through, which you shouldn't do, by the way. You get at this stage where you really have to start paying attention to these things. And it took me out for a little bit of time. I was very frustrated because, to sit still and to actually do the work was very frustrating. But then I decided, okay, I need to see this as a positive thing, because I have been thinking of transitioning in the next couple of years. So maybe this is the perfect time. Universe is allowing me the time to sit and think and how I want to do it. So the idea has been brewing for quite a while. And I feel now that I've been privileged enough to take the time out with the injury to start working on the idea. And then this all came about. So it was basically from me sitting, being still and going, okay. I've also had many frustrations the last year. It was as if life was knocking me around a little bit to go, okay, let's go. You've got good work to do. So that's basically it in a nutshell.
Yeah, that relates. I relate to that so much, especially when you're talking about last year. How things are like kicking you around, and you're thinking, okay, now it's time to actually like dive in deep into what I want to be doing, transitioning out of this. And then it just sounded like you have like such an immersive amount of experience where you can see all the different angles, especially going from like 50 meters to 150 meters. I can't even imagine what working on a 150-meter boat would look like. I think I would get lost like 3-4 times a day. Yeah, you do, right? I mean, so
Finding a cabin, like the first couple of weeks, just finding a cabin and, like getting to work on time. It's like always navigating traffic.
like come with boats, and I'm like, sorry, I got lost. And just sorry.
There you go. That's exactly it. I feel privileged that I've had this vast array of experience and exposure, and it's been such an adventure. And I've also realized through my personal growth, with training, with courses, trying to enhance my own skills, that to try and do that while you're on board, after work, or if you have to do mandatory during work hours, it's very, very difficult, because you constantly have to worry, about, am I spending too much time with this? You can't take in the information. I don't feel it's immersive enough for what we're trying to establish here. I think people like yourself, we're trying to change the collective consciousness of the industry, so to speak. And if you're in an environment where you can't immerse yourself into the important stuff, then it doesn't really make the same impact. So even if you're at home and you have to do your courses, you're thinking, oh, I could be at the beach or visiting friends or whatever. And sometimes, of course, we have to do the mandatory training. But if you're in an environment that's supported, where you're with like-minded people, where you can chill, you don't have to worry about anything. We're going to spoil you exactly like you spoil the guest, so you can feel what it feels like, and offer that genuine care where someone's in your corner. Because a lot of times leaders also, it gets a little bit lonely at the top, because you have to conduct yourself professionally all the time, or you should. And at some point, a shift happens where you're like, oh my goodness, who can I talk to? Like captains, who do they talk to? Someone that can understand, someone that can listen, like just to have that ear, from a point of view that has been there, that has gone through the frustrations, that has gone through the challenges, and of course the joys and the adventure, that you just feel like someone's in your court. And I think that would be much more useful and impactful long term to achieve the goal of changing the collective as a whole, than to try and do it with people under stress, or they're thinking of other things and they can't really feel what they need to do to progress.
Yeah, that's really no, it's not that it's a lot. It's just it's so well thought out, and I related to it like so much. I mean, yeah, you hit the nail on the head right there. It's when you're in those positions of leadership. I can speak from it just as trying to run this company for the last 7 months as we continue development and outreach. And it's like you get to this point where it's like, who can you talk to about this stuff? Who is at that point mentally when they're trying to show a face and make all the correct decisions to be the best leader that he can possibly be, but then you can't show the weaker sides to you, or the sides you need improvement on, or the sides you need to relax a bit, because then the people that look up to you, they'll see that in a light you don't want them to do. So you creating like a safe space where people can not only relax a bit, take the foot off the gas, which is necessary every now and then, but also be in a place with like-minded individuals who want to progress, who want to get better, who want to shape the industry in a light that is a lot better for everybody in the future. Because with all the different podcasts I've been doing, recordings, and people I've been meeting, let alone with the Facebook platform, Yachting, it's like we've been just seeing years and years of just basically horror stories, just actions and people behaving in ways that are just not, it just cannot be done. I mean, let alone cages buried at Bush Spear, all the numerous assaults and not being paid, etc. It's like, how can we help prepare and lay the foundation for crew members that are going to be the next generation that take it and improve it and take it to new heights? I really think that's amazing. I just personally want to congratulate you on that. It's a hell of a thing you're doing here.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And it comes from a calm, good place, and that's why I'm also grateful. I'm saying the injury, which is since healed, by the way, so it was just literally taking that time for me to go through this process. I feel like it was a blessing, because it put me in a state where I was also calm, where I didn't have the pressure around me to think and to go, okay, what's the next step? I still want to be involved in the industry. It's very hard to step away from that. Always try and explain to people at land, you will always have one foot in the sea and one foot on land. It's not something that goes away. In fact, I can't even stay far away from the ocean. I need to be close to water. It's like, it's a craziness that happens over the years. So I truly think that we have a responsibility, if we have the knowledge, if we have the skills and the experience, to try and, like you said, help the next generation to do it better. But it is what it is. We have this, and we have choices on how we're going to deal with it. Are we just going to accept how it is and just continue like that? Sure, but if we have the option of doing it differently, then we can sit, relax, think about how we're going to do it, do it together as well. I feel like I would also like to be part of cohesion. Like, I would love to see how people like yourself activists for people coming together and doing it like cohesively as an industry as a whole, not just crew going, we are so frustrated, can the leaders just do better? And leaders going, oh, these crew are so entitled, and management companies trying just to please owners and captains. And, I think if we come together as a whole and work together to make it better for everyone, then, ultimately that would be the best, right? But it has to start somewhere, and this is what I can offer. This is what I have, and I would love to contribute because the industry has given me a magnificent life. I've had sensational experiences and I've met incredible people. So this is what I have to give back, and I'm going to try my best.
That's all you can do. I think that's amazing. You make me feel so happy at this moment, just seeing all of these people coming together out of the woods and whatnot, or creating their own things, and the power of social media, new technologies that empower people like yourself to take that risk, take that chance, and then just the fortitude that you have in yourself, because taking this risk of entrepreneurship is extremely scary. It's challenging, very hard. And just to see that there's all these people that want to come together to take what they've thought or think what they're so passionate about and bring it to the surface where we can all just, have these conversations where we just be kind to one another, where it's not him versus me or versus us. It's like, all right, we see these problems. Let's just come in the middle. Let's crack a beer. Let's have a conversation, and we'll find whatever the solution is together.
There you go. And I also feel the new call them new generation, because they are. I was a part of that. They're not as tolerant on the things that I might have accepted when I started out, because the world is a completely different place, and we can't apply the same skills or the same outlook or approach to the world now than 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, even longer, when I didn't even know yachting existed, where the old timers are now, they're still hanging on for dear life, but some of them definitely needs to think about phasing out. So exactly, it's almost impossible to think that things shouldn't change. It's it's just part of life. It's part of every industry. And look at like what's happening in the world around us, where people are adapting to AI, for instance. I heard the other day that the new generation of children won't even have to learn how to read. And I was like, my brain just went, but it makes sense because the communication is changing. So if you apply that to something like the yachting industry, which, by the way, if you think about the technology that some of the yachts still use, is like we're in a bubble, right? So we need to perforate that bubble a little bit and go like, hey guys, we need to start getting with the flow of things here. We can't stay like this. And I think it comes in with a lot of issues that needs to come up to the surface, and once it's up on the surface, it needs to be dealt with like everything else in life. It can't stay hidden, like, diversity, inequality, harassment, bullying, And I observe a lot, and especially since starting this, it's of course my brain picks up more now because I'm very much focused on it. But I heard someone say the other day, just in conversation, but as to new crew, starting out in the industry, well, you just have to grow thick skin. I've been bullied and I've been harassed, but you just get up and you get through it. It happens to everyone, and you will get fired. And I'm like, well, this is definitely not what you're supposed to say. First of all, to a new crew member, but secondly, it's terrible, and not in any other industry in the world would you have someone have that conversation, right? So, and the fact that but what I also hear is, but it's the private sector. Owners can choose what people look like that they want to have on board. I, for instance, once was overseen for a job because I wasn't blonde, which is like, okay, ridiculous. No problem. But I've had girls, stewardesses, call me Emma, I need to call you. I've just been fired. And I'm like, why? What happened? You just started there. Well, Madame had one look at me and she had a conversation with the captain and he told me to pack my bags. Like, this is insane. Where else in the world is this type of behavior accepted? So, yes, it's the private sector and owners can do what they want. It's their vessels. But I'm starting to question like the same owners or principals, management companies, whatsoever, that don't always, how to say it, operate at an ethical level. They obviously had to make their money somehow. So they've had to build big industries and companies. And would they do the same in their own personal companies? You know, would the same rules apply? I don't think so, because it's governed, right? It's governed by actual governments, like countries, work rules, but yet it's still acceptable on yachts. And I don't think it's right. I don't know yet how we can change it, but I feel like collectively, again, if we stand together and we address these issues and we bring them up to the surface and we talk about them, then maybe we can find solutions that would be to the benefit of all. Because essentially, if we don't have boat owners, we don't have jobs, right? So I think it's an educational thing as well. But until we don't sit down, calm down and go, okay, let me just open my mind a little bit. Maybe I shouldn't address things like this. Maybe I should speak to crew like that. Maybe going through things like leadership training. I mean, and this is again what I can offer to make the change. Then the real change of these real issues cannot be addressed professionally. Does it make sense?
Yeah, nice.
Sorry.
It makes complete sense to me, honestly. And I think there's a shift, and I think with new people coming up and the way the world is going, it's like we can have these conversations where it's no longer just you versus me. It's okay, we have these issues, we have these problems, we don't like these problems. We need to address these problems, and we need to be able to come together and have a conversation where you don't feel threatened, I don't feel threatened. We just shocked out because there's a solution in there somewhere. But just being quiet about it just drives resentment, drives anger, drives toxicity. Just like you're saying, it's okay being bullied. It's okay if, you're 20 years old or a 30-year-old bosun is coming in and you're the third stew you just got hired and he takes a liking to you. Just deal with it. It's like, no, that's not acceptable. And then on land jobs and whatnot, I mean, you have laws that are put into place to protect you from harassment with that. And the leaders in the past have, I'm just pushed it under the table. And what I see as I spend more time talking to crew, traveling around, doing freelance stuff. It's like the tone is changing a bit, where it's just like, this isn't acceptable. It's like you come from a place, and would you want your baby sister to be harassed by a 30-year-old when she's just left the country for the first time in this job where she's nervous, she's scared, she doesn't know how to operate because she's brand new at being an adult? It's like, no, but the people in power should be there that you can talk to, and they won't feel threatened by your question or threatened by your issue. It's like you can sit there and say, okay, let's have a conversation, and I'll be there to support you, because that is what the leadership role is. And I think it's something incredible that's happening now, and I'm very excited to see what comes from your retreat. I mean, maybe next year I'll come do it when I'm not on tour in South Florida. I think that would be just fantastic, and I can only see great things coming from this, and I'm just terribly excited for it.
Thank you so much. No, I mean, maybe I'm a little bit, I don't know, naive in thinking that, things can change from where I stand. But, we all have to try. We all have to try our best. And it's like you say, instead of staying quiet, because I've obviously also been in situations where I shouldn't have been. And I've had to just suck it up. And I did. And it didn't do me any good. So I wouldn't want that. Like you say, it's like if your baby sister or brother or I mean, even your father or uncle or whoever goes, it's like, would you treat that person the same way, you know? And I often also think, generalizing, but I feel it's a feeling that people don't really know that they're doing stuff wrong. Because if you think about it, the average yachty starts just after school when they're very young. They don't have a lot of work experience other than, you know, maybe like casual work or whatsoever. And they go into a yacht and this is the behavior that they see. This is all they know. Again, talking about the bubble. So there's no one that goes, hey, this is not cool. This is not how it's supposed to be. This is completely wrong on some vessels. And the behavior just continues. And that Dickie or Stu, doesn't matter, junior, grows into a senior role. And where does he or she learn the skills? From the people before them. So those people didn't learn the right thing. So it just gets perpetuated, cycle after cycle after cycle. And then that person gets to 40, they're captain. They still don't know how to deal with these things because they haven't done it. And they still think they're doing the right thing, or they don't know that what they're doing can be done differently. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So I think with people talking about it and, like you say, the consciousness changing, we have opportunity to change that now, and we should. So yeah, I just hope that that it's received well and that people get out of it that's what I'm intending, and hopefully it can help other people as well to do the same in their capacity.
Yeah, I think, especially now that services are being offered by yours, where people can go and they can relax at the same time and having a cool experience in Cape Town with surfing and hiking, whatever, and then also learning these leadership skills. I think it's a perfect blend holiday with work and seeing how you can improve your career. But I also believe that any one person can change the world. You move a piece of sand and all of a sudden you have a mountain that you're standing on. It's just consistent effort and dedication which you have, and then you can change it anything. And
yeah, 100%. And I love you saying that. Again, you know, that sand, little piece of sand. So I told someone the other day, if you think about it, if you stop and you think about it, we as yacht crew, yacht management companies, recruiters, everyone in the industry, we are close to the 1% of the most influential people in the world, right? And as a youngster, you just see stars, right? But if you really think about the impact that we can have collectively if we apply ourselves to it, right? Because we are in an intimate space with these people, and why not try? See what happens, you know?
kept in the back of my mind. That's why I continue to do what I'm doing, just because you hit it. You hit it exactly. We are in contact. We serve. We get beers too. We take the kids on the tubes to the top 1% of the top 1% in the world. The people that have access to all the capital in the world. So just like what the gentlemen do at the, what is it called? Yacht Crew Relief Foundation, where they take crew members around and
So
be charitable stuff. I mean, it's like we have access to be able to do that. And I understand Yacht Crew. This is why I love them so much, because I could do this AI in another industry, but I love Yacht Crew because they're wild, they're adventurous, they're dedicated, they're the hardest working people with the most bravery I think I've seen out of anybody. Because you travel around the world by yourself, seeing all these amazing sights, and just taking a risk that it scares most people. Especially if you get into a leadership role, you have dedicated time and years to the profession, which is not easy to do. It is an extremely difficult job. But then you also have the ability where you have this income, you have the time where you can go to these leadership courses to relax and let your mind start to work and get creative to thinking, okay, what can I do now? Where can I either take my career? Where can I take what Yachting has given to me and soar from there? Because you have the Rolodex of the people that run this world, And if you create the relationships and you prove yourself to them, they will take you under their wing and they will listen to your ideas and say, hey, this guy's got like something going on here. How can I support him there? He's been working with me for 4 or 5 years, always treated my family well. I'd like to see this young man progress. And I mean, it's just about reshaping what you can do with this industry.
Absolutely, 100%. And it doesn't have to be that serious. And this is also why I thought Cape Town is a fantastic place. I mean, I cannot say it enough, obviously. It's not just because it's my home, but it's really from someone that's traveled the world, like yourself, probably. I don't know. Have you been to Cape Town yet?
When was I there? I forget. March. Yeah, I was there in March.
One of the best months to be here. So, yeah, it's really sensational. The weather, the people are warm and welcoming, and then it's just so beautiful. It's so inspiring, and you can have so much fun here. So it's not just, like I said, about the serious stuff. It's about experiencing this magic as well, or to fill you, like you say, get inspired, and hopefully that combination of things and being around the same, where the energy just flows between people in this magical place as well. I can help people create things that they maybe had inside of them or that's been a bit stagnant. And yeah, I mean, I can start writing poetry about this.
Been speaking poetry to me. You've been inspiring me. I'm feeling like Marco. I'm like, yes, this is amazing. This is exactly the apathy. So you're already a public in the sense. Like, you can only imagine where your course and where your retreat's going to be like.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you, Alex. That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Of course. And do you ever think you're going to expand outside of South Africa? I know you guys were doing this since your first retreat, but are there any like dream locations where you're thinking?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I can go with my dream locations, but I think we also have to be a little bit practical in terms of time. So, yep. Yeah. So it's something that I'm thinking about and I'm going to work out, because it also depends on the timing between seasons and how much time people have to travel, and then there are restrictions like getting visas on time, etc. So I think if we are practical about it, we can maybe do it closer to Florida. Like maybe we can go to South America. I'd love to actually go to Canada, but then we'd start talking about visas, etc. Again. I'd love to go to Australia. Also where people, it would be accessible and easier. Cape Town is easy for me because it's my home and I know it very, very well. And there are so many South Africans in yachting that it was just a no-brainer, right? But
Get Rick there. Very good.
exactly. But it's not just for people from South Africa, but most of the yachties out there have built strong connections with South Africans. And I know we are very, very passionate about our country. So I don't know a single yachty that hasn't said to me that they really want to come to Cape Town specifically. So it was like, it sort of made sense. But in the future, I think I will start with things that are a bit more accessible. And then as things progress, I will go to the very magic places that I think that will be fantastic. But that's, in due time. I also feel like the transition needs to be slow, and I've tried to step out of yachting before, as most of us try to do a few times. And cold turkey is not good. I think we need to do a slow transition, because, I mean, there are so many things that you don't anticipate, like the psychological changes from being on land and being on the water. And I mean, just a simple fact of having to sit in traffic, we try to avoid it. Like, it's terrible. And if you look at people around you at home, they just like, go through it. Nobody complains anymore. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can't. So it needs to be slow. So I will probably continue to work a little bit here and there, like you doing yourself as well. Also to stay current in the industry. because I feel that things are changing, and I feel like it's changing rapidly now with the new generation. So, short answer, yes. but it's a work in progress. It's so nice to have that on the horizon, because you can go anywhere, and we can do so much. The woman that's going to facilitate the yoga for us, her name is Jo. So I did yoga classes with her. She's it's local in South African Cape Town, but she also does treks to Nepal. And I actually did a trek with her last year to Everest Base Camp. And as we speak, she's actually doing the same trek. She's on her way back to base camp now. And Nepal, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I think it will be sensational. People will be blown away. Yeah, and it will also give people a lot of perspective. You know, I'm talking yachting specifically. We could do something like that. But, you know, future planning, and the woman that's doing the massages. So we have an in-house masseuse. Her name is Diana in Afrikaans. She also used to be a yachty, and she started her own business. So it's nice to support someone that's also a yachtipreneur. So she is currently in Spain. She just finished the Santiago de Compostela. So things like that, you know, and it comes up. I'm like, ooh, maybe. So we'll see.
That sounds amazing. So you did that Everest Base Camp. How long does that take? I think it's like 2 weeks.
It takes, yeah. Yeah, I don't think you should do it in less time. It's not healthy, it's not safe. So it took us about 15 days, and it was last year, April. So I actually trained to go back this year, because unfortunately one of our friends that went with us on the trek, she couldn't finish because she got altitude sickness. So one evening in Italy, we met up. She worked on a boat. I worked on a boat, and we got together in the middle, as you do with your yachty friends. And that was last summer. And complete honesty, after 2 glasses of wine, I said, "Okay, sure, I'll go back with you again." So I started training to go back with her this year, but then my knee didn't think it was a good idea. So I had that sorted in the meantime, and I'm hoping to make the trek with her soon. So 2 weeks, and we didn't go the normal route, because it's quite busy actually. We went the difficult one, which I thought was going to be the easy one, but it was the difficult one. It was a little bit longer to get there, but shorter to come back, and it was one of the most difficult, if not the most physically, mentally difficult thing I've ever done. But it was also the most enriching experience that you can imagine. I would highly recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, I do a lot of mountaineering and trekking, but I like to go to South America. That's my stopping ground at Andes. I think I've graduated to Nepal and the Himalayas just yet. I like to get a bit more experience under my belt until I start playing around with those giants.
You must just do it. Don't overthink it. We were actually trekking with, and as you do, you meet up with people. You may know that. It's like they're a little bit in front of you, and then you catch up, and then you're a little bit in front, and you always meet at the same accommodation or eating places. And this one guy, we just started chatting. He was like, I think like in his 60s, from Canada, and retired. It was his second or third or fourth time. I can't even remember. And he's like, "So Emma, have you done this before?" I'm like, "No, it's the first time." He's like, "Oh, so have you been at elevation before?" I'm like, "No, it's also the first time." It's like, "Oh, so what has been your biggest hike or longest hike?" I said, 2.5 hours, Table Mountain. He's like,
3,000 meters.
and I said, "Look, I've always wanted to do it." And I was like, let's just do it. Let's see how far I get. And I think it was the best decision, because if I knew what it was going to be like before I joined, I probably would.
And then I know, it's just, why am I doing this? And it's great afterwards.
Absolutely. No, 100%. And it definitely builds resilience. And that's also one of the reasons why I wanted to do it, is like that mental, spiritual, physical resilience that you get by doing something like this, and the exposure. It creates a gratitude for what we have, not just in the industry, but our privilege in this world. There are very, very poor, but very happy people out there. And it was very lovely to experience that. And I think it grounded me a lot. So, good experience.
Yeah, I always say the mountains solve pretty much any issue, any problem. It gives you the resilience you need to push through in any other aspect of your life. Well, I'd like to sort of wrap up here. Do you have any more, personal tales or stuff you'd like to share about Northstar retreats before we end our episode?
I think I mentioned pretty much the essence of it, or the feel. I wanted to get the feeling across, and I hope that's
Yeah, but you touched me here. I was like, all right, I really like this.
wonderful. And also to give people a little bit of an experience of me as a person as well, because it is quite an intimate space that you go into with someone, and there has to be trust, and that obviously comes with time. But I'm hoping that people get the idea of what we want to do, and that it comes from a good place, and just come and have a look, try it out. Hopefully the weather's going to play along, and we're going to try our best to do this to the best of our ability, where people get genuine value from it. And it being the first one, it's also sort of as a soft launch. So we're very open to feedback on what works, what wasn't received so well, and how we can improve. So I'm just excited for people to come and enjoy and have the experience.
Well, you should be excited. You explained that beautifully. I think everybody's can get the message of who you are, what you're trying to do. Can you give us any more information, how they can contact you, make a booking, etc.?
Absolutely. So I've got a dedicated website, which is northstar-retreats.com, which I'm sure you'll put in the details as well. And then we also have an Instagram page and a LinkedIn page that they can go on. All the booking information is on the website, and it explains everything. It's very well laid out, and people can also contact us directly through the website or Instagram or LinkedIn if they have any questions, and we'll gladly answer.
Sounds perfect. Yeah, we'll attach everything below in the description of the episode, and then I'm excited to see how this goes. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you to you. It was such a pleasure. Nice to meet you.
It was a nice, fun time. All right. Thank you, everybody. I'm your host again, Alex Siegars from the British. Thank you, Emma, from Northstar Retreats, and be kind to one of them.
If your brand belongs in the heart of the yachting world, this is where it happens. Yachting International Radio reaches over 1 million yachting professionals and enthusiasts every month, with 77 million impressions, 220,000 social followers, and 74,000 podcast subscribers. Our hosts are insiders, crew, captains, CEOs, trusted voices shaping the industry. This is targeted, high-impact advertising in a luxury niche. Visit yachtinginternationalradio.com/advertise. Your audience is already listening.